when I listen to music, I want to be touched. I want to feel it in my heart, and I want to be able to cry to music and like have all these emotions released. That's what music is for me. For some people it's different. Some people want to just smile when they hear music, or they just want to party. But for me, music, I want music to reconnect myself with my soul. So that's what I look for when I make melodies. I just start puzzling, I start playing around, and I don't stop until there is this moment where I feel this click, like something happens, and I feel like something hits me here, and I feel like it hits me in a way that no other melody has hit me before. And it's unexplainable. It's a feeling, and it's the moment when I, get out of my chair and start doing a little dance around my studio, and that's when I know that I'm on the right track. But the most important thing is I don't stop until I get there. And every time I try to get there, it's a different way, and every time it's a struggle. And sometimes I think I lost it. I can't do it anymore. I've created, like, I can never go beyond the melodies that I've created in the past. It's always it's a mind fuck, but once I get there, it's like the biggest natural high that I can get, and that's what I do it for, and when I get there, and that I also, when I get touched by it, there's probably other people that are gonna get touched by it. But I feel like a lot of for example, demos that I hear, I feel like the producer just didn't go all the way to get to that point, and they were satisfied too soon. I think one of the things that, I don't know, got me where I am is that I am very persistent. I go on and on and on until I get to that point where it's special.
Maybe I'm in the right way. I always thought about it, and I was making mistakes, and there was a lot of mistakes. So maybe that was the way to just make it with my heart.
With your own music, mistakes.
Yeah.
Man, like I'm sitting here and you guys are sitting there, but you don't want to know how often I still feel like a beginner when I'm making music. It's like always. If you start from scratch, you start with a clean sheet, and every time you have to prove to yourself that you're still able to do it, and it's never, no track is going to be the same as the track before, and every time you have to get the pieces of the puzzle together, and it's a mental game, man. I always try to keep seeing myself as a beginner, and also try to keep learning, because there is no perfect way. There's so many ways to make music, and and that's probably the way to keep improving, because that's the same for me. I'm way over 10,000 hours probably, but I'm still learning. I mean, that's my personal experience. It's scary because every time you have to prove to yourself that you're still able to do it. And the funny thing is that it gets scarier over time, in my experience. For me now, it's scarier to make music than it was 10 years ago. And that's because I've already created the hits that I created. And for me, the challenge is to create something better than what I've already created. And that's probably more difficult for me than it is for you. So you're trying to be better than your previous self all the time. And at some point, you get to points where you're like, how am I ever going to top this? What I just made,
No, especially, I mean, for a lot of artists, they at one point in their career had their biggest hit, and from that on, that hit becomes their benchmark, but also it becomes they become their own competition in order to win over their previous biggest hit. So that's a big challenge.
So be prepared. Be prepared. Yeah.
There were people with questions.
Yeah, so the thing is, as I'm a beginner producer, I had to manage my day job and as well as produce. So I come across a creative block a lot of times where I can't just get that translated into what I want to make. So have you got such creative blocks in your process? And if yes, how do you tackle it, and what things do you do to translate your music?
All the time. I think... there's not a lot of producers that don't have that. and it's really a battle with yourself, and I feel that sometimes I need to be kind to myself, you know, get out of the studio and watch some Netflix, and then come back maybe even a couple of hours later, where I suddenly feel like this urge to try once again, and maybe then that time it works. And sometimes I feel like I just need a kick in the butt, you know, like, because I also feel like I have a tendency to run away from this fear when I'm behind my computer, and when I'm trying things and it's not working out, I get insecure. You know, it doesn't. You don't particularly feel confident when you're not able to create the thing you want, and you feel like, shit, I lost it, man. Like I don't know how to do this, and you hear all these amazing productions by other producers, and you feel like you're not good enough, and you know, and everyone must be wrong about me. Like, I'm this artist, like everyone knows me. I should be able to do this, but I'm not able to do it. Like, and then you know, you feel this tendency to run away from it and forget about it, just do other things. But sometimes I need to really force myself to just stay in the chair, and just like, and then I'll tell myself, like, I'll make something shit, you know, I'll make something shit today, but am going to make something, you know. Today I'm just going to make something. I don't care what it is, but I'm just like, make this deal with myself right now, that the moment I get out of this chair, there is something there, you know. And oftentimes then I end up like trying and actually ending up with something cool, just because I didn't run away, and because you know, there's nothing ever coming out if you're not doing something, you know. It's not suddenly gonna pop up in your head. Most of the tracks that you make, you have it's by trial and error, not because you were just walking around the park and you suddenly had a song in your head. It's mostly by trying, and you have a couple of things that you try, and you accidentally come across some idea that's nice, you know. But for that, you also have to fail a couple of times to get to that idea. So sometimes, yeah, it also comes down to discipline. And I think that probably I wouldn't give in to the idea that you have a writer's block too soon, because then you're just like, that's the same as giving up and saying, I can't do it. Although I think you actually can, but you're, you know, too afraid to fail. And you should just get back to the computer and just fail a couple of times.
Is there like a schedule in the studio that works for you? For example, work late in the night, or? Yeah,
I personally, I feel like this music, I don't know, I feel like this special kind of vibe in the night. The night has something mysterious. It has, I feel like something, yeah, this creative flow just comes alive within me at night. In the morning I'm pretty good too, but afternoon, man, like afternoon is so boring. I don't know, it just feels very uninspired to me. So but still, that's not an excuse not to sit in the studio in the afternoon. But I find that the most special ideas come out at night for me. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a saying that the tracks that were produced in the shortest time were the most successful eventually.
I agree with that idea. I hate to agree with it, because you don't want to know that when you're working for a month on a track. You know, you want to be working on a month for a track and say it's worth it. This is going to be my best track ever, and that's necessary to get you to the end of producing that track. Because if you don't feel confident that it's going to be a very good track, then you will lose motivation. But afterwards, in hindsight, you know that probably the tracks that you produced in a short time were the best ones. And then I won't say that you can't take all your time to perfect the track when it's there, but I do feel like it's true what they say, that the idea has to come out quick, because it will sound more natural, it will sound more spontaneous. And I feel like that happened with my music as well. Like, for example, Tonight with Noise Controls, Wild Styles was created in one studio session. You know, Our Church with Sub-Zero Project, we did it very fast. Orange Heart, also same story. So and there's a couple of other tracks that I like. I spent so much more time making those, and those are the ones that people already forgot about. And in some way, it's frustrating, but it's also funny, you know.
Yeah.